Welcome to the 17th episode of the Perfectly Imperfect Spiritual Podcast. I met my today's guest at MaryAnn DiMarco's classes, and we have not only become friends, but have supported each other on our personal and professional journeys. Laurie Cancellieri is an intuitive coach trained in coactive coaching and positive intelligence. She uses her intuition to add an element to her coaching. Often, clients can unpack, unburden, and leave things where they need to be in order to move on from stuck or painful places. She has helped many people who have lost loved ones learn how to reframe their relationship with those they've lost and to step into a life of presence and joy. Welcome, Laurie.
Hello, welcome. Nice to see you.
I'm so happy you're here. Would you like to share with the viewers and listeners how did we meet and how have we supported each other throughout the years?
Sure. Well, I have to step back just a little bit to how we met, to how I got there. Would that be okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so well, we met in a medium class, but how did I get to that medium class?
Yes.
Many years ago, I lost my son, and it was about 18 years ago, and he started to communicate with me, and I really started my spiritual coaching journey at that point. And as I was coaching, I would always think, why do people need to see a medium? No offense to you, because I could hear him.
Yes.
And everyone I was coaching was like, do you have a medium? So I'm so happy I found you because I can send people to you to connect with their loved ones. But I could hear him. So I started to figure out what does that mean? And so for a few years, I studied with someone in Long Island who helps people deal with their gifts and how to manage their ability to hear spirit in their daily life, and also how to do energy healing and how to amp up and translate the or read what the spirit is sending us. And that led me to during COVID, I sort of got into that, and then COVID hit, and I saw that MaryAnn, who actually is local for me, was doing a class. So I said, well, it's COVID, I may as well do more in my journey. So that's how I got to there. Never really intending to be a quote medium, but trying to understand the channeling that I do and the knowing that I have and how to use it with my clients. And there you were. And I remember so clearly meeting you because I don't remember many people from that class. And I how many were there? Like maybe 12 people in that?
I wouldn't remember. I have no memory for numbers.
I don't remember, but I just remember at one point they said, pick somebody and read them. And I was immediately drawn to you. And I remember we had to look at each other and read. And I just knew that there was more for us to do. And we messaged and started to talk after that. And I know you were going through some tough stuff at that time.
Yes.
And I had some tools to offer. And I did that, and we did a little coaching for quite some time.
Yes.
And then during the coaching, my son came through, which was a beautiful thing because he came through for my daughter. I had always heard him, but my daughter, she knew it was true, but was a little bit of a skeptic. And one day we were sitting, am I talking too long about this?
No, this is all very much interesting. I love to hear people's stories, and I feel the viewers and listeners too.
Okay. So one day we were sitting right after COVID, we were all sitting around, and I had worked with you for, and talked to you as if we sort of became friends after that. And as you were stepping into your mediumship and your professional, and I was doing my coaching thing. One day my daughter and her husband and my grandson were sitting around the table trying to decide whether she should buy this house. And you emailed me and said, someone is coming through for me and they want to speak to Cece. And at the time I thought Casey because, but now I realize it was her initials, Cece. So that makes me laugh even harder. And I said, Casey, this must be for you. And Sean had also lost his brother, but he was a complete like skeptic. Casey used to say, don't mention this in front of Sean while they were dating. Just keep your mouth shut, Mom. So anyway, we're sitting around the table and you emailed this and I said, come on, guys. So we turned on the laptop and we dialed in, and it was such a gift because what you had to say was a direct message from Max, my son, to Casey. And it started with, I've been trying to tell you this for so many years and you haven't heard me. I could cry now when I think of it.
Yeah.
But the funniest part was, and there was a lot of message in it, a million different things, but it started with, I think it's time for you to have a place of your own and it's great architecture. So Casey and Sean were like, we're in, okay. It was just quite obvious that he was there and had been there with us. So from then on, Max has come through a lot, different times. So what began in a relationship of sort of working with you to step into all of your amazing gifts ended up being an incredible gift for our family. So that's
Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm so appreciative for your friendship, but also for the coaching that you did for me, because you so much helped me with my anxiety, with my panic attacks. So could you tell a little bit about your coaching training and how you support clients with their anxiety or with any difficulties that they're going through?
Yeah. Well, I was trained in something called coactive, which believes that people are naturally resourceful and whole, and that we all have answers within us. So one of my trainings was how to elicit the answers from a client from deep inside. So that's one training. Another training I've had is saboteur training. So what are the voices in our head that keep jumping in and keeping us from being in the present? And over the years, I've really mastered, not master, that's a very big word, but I sort of have, how to be in the present. Part of it was being in a crazy situation the last 15 years in my personal life, and sort of having to say, like, I'm going to do today, and I'm going to get through today, and I'm going to be so happy today. And I have learned that if we can really live today, not be in story and not think about tomorrow and not even think too much about the past and our regrets and our shoulds, we can actually live in joy. And so my passion now is working with people. A lot of my clients feel, I guess a lot of people come to me when they lose someone because they feel, how will I ever have my life again? How can I ever be happy? And I've learned how to have a relationship with my son that feels actually beautiful. I would never wish that I experienced the first part, but if it had to happen, and I do believe in soul journey, and I do believe we're all here for a certain amount of time, and that's what it is, and that's okay. And Max has told me that gajillion times, that it's all exactly how it should have been. I feel like we can still have them in our lives in the spiritual realm and step into joy, because I've never been this happy. I probably am happier every day of my life. I wake up and just feel joy, which is really a good thing.
No,
And
it is remarkable.
I wish it for my clients. One of the gifts I have, your gifts are like, you can really tune into everyone's spirits who have passed. I have the ability to tune into spirits who have passed and spirit guides, but also to tune into the client's current, I don't even know how to describe it, but what they're seeing in their mind, that I have the ability to kind of cut through the BS and say, well, let's go right here. So I do it in a, the people that work with me know that I'm going to ask permission to jump in, but it usually catapults us a few months ahead, because we can start right there. And it's fun, and it feels happy because I have really helped a lot of people unburden. And as I said to someone last week, just leave that shit where it should be. Like, step into today. We all carry just way too much with us, so it's nice to stop and put it down.
Definitely. And it feels so important that you have incorporated your intuitive gifts into your coaching practice, because as you've mentioned, you're able to give your clients much faster and better results, which is so important. But I'm now curious how your own intuitive gifts and your awareness of the spirit world, how has it changed your own day-to-day life?
Oh, wow. I am so spirit driven. If I'm put somewhere or something comes in front of my path, I jump in. I just know if it's there. It's funny, I was away last month and I went somewhere by myself, and there were a lot of opportunities for learning. And each day I just sort of went with wherever I was motivated to go. And one morning I was sitting with a bunch of women at a table, and they were mentioning they were starting this swimming class. And my first thought was like, oh, I would never want to do a swimming class. And the more they talked about it, the more I said, okay, I guess I'm supposed to do a swimming class. And guess what? I now swim like a swimmer. 5 days later, there I was, euphoric from this swimming class, and I can't wait for summer and my laps and my newfound love of swimming. I learned to be a fish. But I never would have done it had I not been open to, what is the universe putting in front of me, from big things to just little things. So
Beautiful.
it feels very. The other thing that happened last week, I was nervous. I was giving a talk somewhere, and it was a new kind of talk that I hadn't done before. And I was a little nervous because I don't love this stuff and being in front of the camera. It's very new to me, and I definitely try to stay away from it till I'm dragged kicking and screaming it. And I had to do this. I was doing this talk, which was going to help people with their saboteurs. And I woke up and I looked out my window. I was doing my dishes, getting my coffee, and there was an osprey, this giant osprey, just sitting on a branch looking in my window. And all of a sudden it just washed over me, and I said, I have this. Like, what am I worried about? This stuff I know. I'm going to help people today. There's 10 people coming. They're all going to leave better off and happier. And I just looked at this osprey. He stood there for 30 minutes going, osprey imitation, and I left on fire. So I guess it's just really looking at ways the universe is supporting you and believing the universe has this, and that there will be bumps, there will be sadness, there will be grief, but that stuff doesn't have to totally derail us. It can be an experience we're having today because this is what we're being dealt today, but we will get through it, and we will be able to be happy and be in joy as we move through it, or after we move through it, sometimes simultaneously.
This is so important. And I think that awareness of the fact that we are always supported by the universe, that our loved ones, guides, angels are always around us. They're just waiting for us to tell them, yes, please help me. And then the minute we become aware of the signs and symbols that are being sent to us, then our lives and any obstacles that we have to go through in this lifetime, they become in a way more manageable. Would you be able to share with the viewers and listeners any simple tips that people can incorporate into their life so they can be more present, and so that they can live happier and more relaxed lives?
Well, I think this might be a life philosophy, and then I can give you a little tip to jump into it. But it's not, it's not created by me, but the idea, I think it started Seed of the Soul 100 years ago. We are light, and anything we do out of love and compassion adds to our light, and anything we do out of fear or anger detracts from our light. And it's such a simple formula. And that goes right into the saboteur stuff that you and I talked about in the past, which is if we're in should or regret or fear, we're in saboteur. So the minute we know that we're creating a negative action or a feeling for ourselves or for someone else, we need to stop, because that's not where we should be. So we can have a feeling, but let's stop and say, okay, let me just regroup. There's a little technique. This comes from positive intelligence, but this is really minor, but just rubbing your fingers together, these two fingers, so lightly that you can feel the ridges of your fingertips. And if you close your eyes and do that for a while, not even a minute, you'll start to settle. You'll start to get out of your head. And you might even then listen to, what is the furthest away thing I can hear? What is the closest thing I can hear? As you start to do that, now you're not in that thinking that is not beneficial to yourself, and you can stop. It actually shifts you into the right brain, into your creative brain, into the place that you feel your heart, and you can then act out of love. So things don't have to be easy, but they can be free of that kind of fear and anger that motivates us and puts us in the wrong place. It ends up in a harder place to get out of.
So important. Yes. Okay. And how can people move from feeling stuck?
I think it's really getting deep into there. I mean, there's no technique for that. I mean, when I work with people about, I think everybody feels stuck. Everybody feels stuck in some way. I want to do this. I'm in this job I don't like. I'm a kind of friend I don't want to be. Whatever it is. We are stuck, and most of the stuckness is because of our saboteurs. We have voices that we all have them. We all have voices that we've had in our head since we were little in order to cope with things. And now we don't need those voices anymore. Those voices are not necessarily true to who we are today. So getting unstuck means first unscrambling who's me and who are the voices that I'm hearing, and dealing with the truth, dealing with really, what do I want? What do I want to step into? I was at a talk last week, and the woman asked, what are the 2 words that were used to describe you when you were a child? And mine were too much and crazy. And I knew right away what my words were from when I was a kid. So too much was my intuitive gift, as my mother called it, vibing, which led to crazy. So I had a whole voice in my head for so many years, like, tone it down, tone it down. You know this, but don't tell them, because, then you're too much. So we all have that. And some of us had amazing voices in our head that we stepped into. In this group, the woman that I was working with, hers was precious and very much loved. And the question after the 2 words were, how much are you like that? Or how much are you not like that? So I think it's, the stuckness sometimes is on, I'm stuck because I have these descriptions in my head, or these concepts in my head from when I was a child that are holding me back, or something that I've learned along my way in adulthood, or life has dealt me. I've lost this person, therefore I can't possibly be happy, or, this has gone wrong in my life. I have no money. How can I be having fun? Whatever it is, we have so many stories. And the truth is, we can feel happy in the worst of situations if it's in our heart. And that doesn't have to be happy. We can just know it's the way it is, and it's not going to be forever. And we can hold things and move through them in an easier way when we don't feel like they're just these giant burdens that are sitting on our head that we're never getting out from. They're not happening to us. We're in the middle of an experience that we're moving through.
Yes. And those experiences always come and go, and
Yeah.
I guess throughout the years we just learn how to navigate and how to still be able to tap into our joy and happiness, no matter what the external conditions are. So what would be the two words that actually describe you right now?
Oh, right now, definitely in flow.
Uh-huh.
That's a one phrase. And happy or joyous. I just feel like it feels good to be here. It feels good to be in this life, living in this life. And I'm excited about every day. So what would be
So
your
sort of.
two words?
Now or as a child?
I don't know. You can go either direction.
Yeah. Well, as a child, definitely lost and too much.
So you relate to it too much.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Well, right now, I feel like I take as much space as I feel I want to, and I don't really care whether it's okay for some people or not. So,
I think you're
definitely.
even expanding. I'm going to go with expanding. Like, as you said that, I could feel like this happening for you.
But definitely in the flow, that resonates because that's how I perceive my life. I just try, well, I'm seeing like waves, and then I just try to surf and be, yeah,
And the other
the
thing is,
way
I
life.
think you and I have both learned, which is, there's always something to be gained from whatever pain we're going through. So
Yes.
when we get out the other side, and this is not including, I mean, it is grief, but grief is a separate animal. But everything other than grief, when we get to the other side, we always have some kind of gift or opportunity from it. Grief as well, but people that are in the middle of grief can, they're not going to see it right then. But when you look back, something in your life, having gone through grief, becomes, or sickness, serious health issues, whatever it is. If you talk to people that have experienced any of these heavy things, and most of us have, those are the points where life becomes sweeter and richer and more important every day.
Can we talk about grief? Could you talk about how you support your clients and how you supported yourself through your own, through your own grieving? Like, how do you help your clients to reframe their perception and how? Yes, if you can talk
I
about
think
it.
the first thing with grief is just letting people know that I'm positive that our loved ones are out there energetically. And I think when they understand that, and there are books and different experiences to support that, once they understand that if a bird flies by and you feel like your dad just checked in, like your dad just checked in, or you woke up in the morning and you say, oh my God, I had this dream, my mother was, no, that was a visit. Like, once you can start to reframe that and you start to realize they're out there and in that world, then you can start working on yourself in this world, because I think you then realize they're with you, and it's not just loss, it's loss of physical presence. So that's the beginning for me of the grief turning into something that has a forward-looking arrow. I'm not just, life hasn't stopped. It's not going to be like this forever. I'm not going to hurt forever. I'm going to walk a new path. I'm going to learn new things. I'm going to be a new person without this person. But that person, spirit and energy will be with me, and I can tap into it if I learn to step in, or not, or use people like you to really get the messages. Not everyone can get messages, but you might know the butterflies there. But then going to you, I had a client last week who asked me, can you have me connect, can you help my son connect with his father? He left 30 years ago or whatever it was. And I said, no, I don't do that. I help I help you open yourself up to sort of have that connection out there with your loved one, but I'm not going to get message after message, and
Mm-hmm.
I give them your information, and there was the dream come true. So
Yeah,
I
thank
think,
you. And this is
yeah.
how we can collaborate, and we can actually share with the viewers and listeners. Well, I'm coming to the US in August, and it's been your son. He's been coming through to me, and so we're actually planning together to do some. Well, we still aren't sure, but definitely some group readings, maybe a workshop. But what's so important, and we know that today it's Mother's Day, and we know that your son has chosen that day to be a very meaningful and purposeful. So he's really asked both of us to do another event that will be a charity event, and all of the proceeds from that will go to support families that lost their children to suicide. So that's something we're planning together. We still don't know the exact date, but keep an eye on Laurie's social media and mine, and we'll update you because Max is not going to give up on that. So that's something that will definitely, yeah, it definitely has to happen. The same as both of us will have to try and serve. I'm getting
I'm laughing when she says that, when you say that, because you told me that he said this, and I said, oh,
Yes.
okay, so that's my planning. But
That's
I'm
what we're doing.
down. I'm down. I'm going with this. So
Yes, let's play
you're never
along
wrong.
and do it. Okay, well, Laurie, could you share a final message or anything that you would like to leave the viewers and listeners with?
Enjoy this precious day. Today is maybe the best day you're ever going to have for the rest of your life. Maybe it's the beginning of a long string of them, but enjoy it.
Beautiful. And finally, could you share about your offerings and then where people can find you?
Okay. I am on the web at intuitivecoach.life, and also Katona Coaching, Katonah, but we'll put the link up.
Yes.
I do 2-hour crisis sort of stuck coaching with a follow-up. And that's sort of a one-shot with a follow-up. But the way I really like to work is a 3-month commitment, and we work for 3 months every other week, and we get unstuck. It's quite beautiful. I work with people longer than that as well, if someone wants to continue, and most do. But in 3 months, we can really see movement and see happiness and joy. So I welcome that.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, Laurie, so much for coming to the podcast and for having that very important conversation with me.
Thank you very much, Marta. It was a
And
pleasure.
I want to say goodbye to all of the viewers and listeners. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you.